The alert arrived at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was brushing my teeth when my phone buzzed on the bathroom counter. Credit monitoring notification. I almost ignored it. Almost swiped it away like I'd done with 100 others. But something made me tap it open. The words didn't make sense at first. New account opened. Personal loan. Then I saw the number that made my stomach drop, $90,000. I stared at the screen until the water ran cold in the sink. I hadn't applied for anything. I hadn't signed anything. But someone had. I sat on the edge of my bed and read the alert 3 more times. $90,000. That wasn't a credit card mistake or a billing error. That was a massive loan, opened 4 days ago, sitting on my credit file like a bomb. My hands shook as I logged into my credit monitoring account. Maybe it was fraud. Maybe someone stole my information. But deep down, something already felt wrong in a different way. This wasn't random, this felt personal, targeted, deliberate. I pulled my full credit report at midnight. There it was. A personal loan from Cascade Financial Group, approved on April 14th, funded on April 16th. Principal amount $90,000, term 7 years, monthly payment $1,403. My name, my social security number, my address, everything matched perfectly except one critical fact. I didn't do this. My heart hammered as I scrolled through the details. No error message, no dispute flag. Just clean, official documentation saying I now owed nearly 6 figures to a lender I'd never heard of. I requested the application documents the next morning. Cascade Financial emailed them within 2 hours. I opened the PDF with shaking hands, scrolling past terms and disclosures until I reached the signature page. And there it was. My name, signed in blue ink across the bottom line. But it wasn't my handwriting. It was close, careful, practiced. But I knew my own signature, and this wasn't it. I zoomed in on the loops, the slant, the pressure points. Then recognition hit me like cold water. I'd seen this handwriting my entire life. I didn't call her. Every instinct screamed to pick up the phone and demand an explanation, to confront her, to ask how she could do this. But something stopped me. Maybe it was shock, maybe it was strategy, or maybe it was the memory of every other time I'd confronted her about something and watched her twist it around until I was the problem. So I closed my laptop. I went to work. I acted normal, and I said nothing. Silence felt safer than the explosion that would come from speaking. That night, I lay awake, calculating what this could destroy. My husband and I were closing on a house in 6 weeks. We'd saved for 3 years, planned every detail, already given notice on our apartment. A $90,000 debt would kill our mortgage approval instantly. My career in financial compliance required spotless credit. One red flag could cost me my job, my reputation, everything we built. I stared at the ceiling and realized my sister hadn't just stolen money. She'd planted a bomb under my entire future and walked away. I found the timestamp 2 days later. The loan application was submitted on April 14th at 2:17 p.m. I pulled up my work calendar. That afternoon, I'd been in a quarterly compliance review meeting with 12 witnesses and recorded minutes. My phone's location history confirmed I was at my office downtown, 30 miles from the Cascade Financial branch where the application claimed I'd appeared in person. That single detail was a crack in her plan. She couldn't have known I'd have an alibi that airtight. She'd been careful, but not careful enough. I thought back to every warning sign I'd ignored. Growing up, our mother always favored her. Chelsea got the bigger room, the newer clothes, the excuses when she messed up. I got lectures about responsibility. When she crashed Mom's car at 19, I was asked to help pay the insurance deductible. When she dropped out of college, I was told to be supportive and not mention my own graduation. I'd spent 32 years watching boundaries get erased in the name of family harmony, and I'd gone along with it every single time, until now. I discovered why she needed the money on a Friday night. Chelsea's social media told the story she thought was private. Posts about new beginnings and investing in dreams. Photos inside a newly renovated storefront downtown, with tags like small business owner and boss babe. She'd opened a boutique, high-end clothing, expensive build-out. She'd been planning this for months, posting progress updates to 300 followers who had no idea where the funding came from. She needed startup capital. And rather than ask me, rather than apply honestly under her own name, She'd stolen mine. I saw her at Sunday dinner and pretended everything was fine. She hugged me at the door, chatting about her new store, excitement bubbling over. I smiled. I asked questions. I listened to her describe the inventory, the grand opening next month, the investors she'd impressed. She never once hesitated, never showed a flicker of guilt. She looked me in the eye and lied by omission with such ease it was almost impressive. Meanwhile, I memorized every detail she shared, every date, every dollar amount. Evidence, all of it. The documents kept coming. I requested records from Cascade Financial under consumer protection laws. They sent copies of the loan agreement, the income verification, the identity confirmation. Someone had provided my pay stubs, altered to show higher income. Someone had answered security questions using information only family would know. Someone had signed my name 6 different times across 30 pages. The pattern was clear. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned, detailed, and executed with the assumption that I'd never find out or never fight back. I met with a fraud specialist on a Wednesday morning. Her name was Olivia Torres, and she worked with identity theft victims. I spread the documents across her desk and watched her face change as she reviewed them. "This wasn't a stranger," she said quietly. "This was someone who knows you well." I nodded. She looked at me carefully. "You know who did this, don't you?" I nodded again. She slid a packet across the desk. "Then here's what we need to do." For the first time in 2 weeks, I felt something other than panic. I felt direction. I waited. Olivia advised documenting everything before making any moves. "Let her get comfortable," she said. "People make mistakes when they think they're safe." So I played the role. I attended Chelsea's boutique soft opening. I complimented the displays. I posted a supportive photo on social media. I watched her bask in congratulations from friends and family while I quietly built a file that grew thicker every day. Patience felt impossible, but I trusted the process. I trusted that truth had a timeline and I didn't need to rush it. She made her first mistake 3 weeks later. Chelsea posted a photo holding a champagne glass with the caption, "Celebrating good credit and great opportunities." The timestamp showed 6 p.m. on May 9th. The same day, Cascade Financial's records showed a phone call from me requesting an increased credit line. Except it wasn't me. I was at a work event with 40 witnesses. She'd gotten bold. Greedy and sloppy, I screenshotted the post, logged the timestamp, and added it to the file. She'd just handed me confirmation that this wasn't a one-time act. It was ongoing. 2 days later, I found the second application. A credit card. Applied for under my name at a different bank. Approved for $15,000. She'd used the loan to establish credit history, then leveraged that to open new accounts. The scope was bigger than I'd thought. This wasn't desperation. This was strategy. She was building a financial identity using my name as the foundation, confident I'd either never notice or never act. The anger I'd been suppressing finally surfaced, cold and sharp. She hadn't just crossed a line, she'd erased it. I stopped protecting her that night. For weeks, I'd avoided telling my husband the full truth, afraid of what it would mean for family relationships. But sitting at our kitchen table, looking at him across the mortgage documents we couldn't sign, I realized something. Protecting her meant sacrificing us. Protecting family harmony meant destroying my future. I told him everything. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he reached across the table and took my hand. "What do you need from me?" he asked. And I knew. I needed to stop being the one who always absorbed the damage. I filed the report on a Monday morning. The police station was quieter than I expected. The officer took my statement, reviewed my documents, and explained the process. Identity theft, fraud, forgery. Each word felt heavy and final. He asked if I knew the suspect. I hesitated for only a second before answering yes and providing her name. There was no satisfaction in it. No triumph. Just the weight of a choice I could never undo. He told me a detective would contact me within 48 hours. I walked out into the morning sunlight feeling lighter and heavier all at once. Chelsea called me 4 days later, her voice tight with panic. "May, we need to talk. Something's happened." I let it go to voicemail. She called again an hour later, then texted, "Please call me, it's important." I could hear the fear even in typed words. She'd been contacted. The investigation had reached her. And suddenly, the confident woman who'd stolen my identity without hesitation was scrambling for control. I didn't respond. I didn't owe her a warning, an explanation, or a chance to spin this into something I'd caused. Silence was its own answer. The evidence spoke for itself. Forensic analysis of the signatures confirmed they weren't mine. Timestamp records proved I couldn't have been in two places at once. Bank statements showed the loan funds deposited into her business account within hours of approval. Phone records tied her number to calls made to Cascade Financial from my account. Her own social media posts documented spending that aligned perfectly with the loan disbursement. There was no gray area, no room for interpretation. The facts built a case so solid that even the best lawyer couldn't crack it. The consequences arrived in waves. First, the loan was flagged as fraudulent and removed from my credit report. Then Cascade Financial filed a claim against Chelsea for the full amount plus fees. Her business assets were frozen pending investigation. Her credit cards were canceled. The boutique she'd built on stolen money faced immediate closure. Everything she'd constructed using my name began collapsing. I watched from a distance, not with satisfaction, but with the quiet recognition that this was always where her choices were leading. She just never believed she'd actually arrive here. She called one final time from our mother's phone. I saw the number and knew what it meant. She was trying to reach me through someone who might convince me to answer. I stared at the screen as it rang. Part of me wanted to pick up, to hear what she'd say, to see if there was any real remorse. But I knew better. This call wasn't about accountability. It was about damage control. It was about convincing me to make this go away, to be the bigger person, to protect her one more time. I let it ring until it stopped. Then I blocked the number. My credit was fully restored by mid-June. The fraudulent accounts were deleted. My score recovered. Our mortgage application was resubmitted and approved within a week. We closed on the house on July 3rd, exactly 1 day later than originally planned. Standing in our new living room, keys in hand, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not because my sister was suffering, but because I'd refused to let her choices destroy what I'd built. I'd protected myself. I'd chosen my future over her comfort. And I'd do it again. The truth reached our family in pieces. Some heard it from my mother, who alternated between defending Chelsea and asking me to just forgive her. Some heard it through mutual friends who'd seen the boutique close and started asking questions. Some figured it out when Chelsea stopped posting on social media and disappeared from family gatherings. I didn't offer explanations. I didn't justify my actions. The people who mattered already understood. The ones who didn't weren't people I needed to convince. Truth didn't require my defense. It stood on its own. I stopped attending family events where she'd be present. It wasn't anger. It wasn't punishment. It was self-preservation. I had no interest in forced reconciliation or awkward holiday dinners where everyone pretended nothing had happened. My mother called it holding a grudge. I called it having boundaries. For the first time in my life, I chose distance over discomfort. I chose peace over performance. And I didn't apologize for it. Some relationships aren't meant to survive honesty. This was one of them. 6 months later, I watched my credit report come back completely clean. No fraud alerts, no disputed accounts, just my name, my history, my choices reflected accurately. Chelsea faced restitution payments, probation, and a felony record that would follow her for years. Her boutique never reopened. Her reputation in our small business community was destroyed. She'd learned what I'd always known but never enforced. Actions have consequences. She'd counted on my silence, my loyalty, my unwillingness to fight back. She'd built her plan on the assumption that I'd protect her over myself. That assumption cost her everything and taught me something I'd carry forever. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is refuse to be the one who absorbs the damage. Sometimes survival looks like letting the truth do exactly what it was always meant to do. Expose what was hidden and restore what was stolen. I didn't get revenge. I got my name back. And that was enough.